In the modern world, the mountain wilderness is often home to mansions and idyllic communities. People have retreated to the mountains for peace, serenity, and health, all while making the most of the products and services the modern world offers. Luxury ski villages have popped up, where a mere parking space can cost $100,000. But it wasn't always like this. Before a home in the mountains became the calling of remote workers and the independently wealthy, the mountains were, and in many cases remain, the home of the poor. Fertile soil is seldom found on mountainsides, and small mountain valleys are severely limited in size, which by extension limits the amount of people who can live there. There are some exceptions to this rule. Some passages in the Alps, for example, are quite wide. Mountain valleys are often not far from one another, or the lowlands, as the crow flies, but are only accessible via rough terrain, which before modern transportation and infrastructure was a challenging task. Waterways are, and have always been, the cheapest form of transportation, but the steepness of mountain slopes and the cascades and rapids they form have made these waterways virtually unnavigable. The rocky terrain means that often the only means of transportation has been by foot or by mule, as wheeled vehicles are unsuited for the terrain. High elevations mean colder temperatures and snow. This means some villages were often cut off completely from the rest of the world during winter months. Mountains have denied its people access to the things that promote prosperity and to the advances of the rest of the world. Ideas and inventions from one country can easily pass to another country via the lowlands, but in the mountains, things are not so easy. There is one account of a boy in the Pindus Mountains of Greece who had never seen an olive, a food iconic to Greek civilization, until he was 12 years old. Connecting mountain regions with modern infrastructure, such as roads, power lines, and sewage, often comes at a high price per person, because of the sparse population. Mountains can preserve cultures. The people of the Rif Mountains of Morocco became Muslims centuries after the rest of Morocco became Muslim. Gaelic continued to survive in the Scottish Highlands while English prevailed in the lowlands. Because of their historical isolation from outside cultural influences, unique handicrafts such as wood carvings and articles of clothing have been a major and expensive export of mountain communities, with handicrafts of some villages being found on the opposite side of the world. Both the highlands of Scotland and Sri Lanka were more or less independent, while the respective lowlands were conquered. Mountains have often been nominally under the control of one group, but in practice ruled by rebel groups, native tribes, or bandits. Plunderers from the highlands have been notorious for raiding their more prosperous lowland neighbors. Because lowland authorities have often been unable to effectively control mountainous regions, a certain vigilantism has arisen. Feuds have arisen out of this mountain model of do-it-yourself justice, the most famous in the United States being between the Hatfields and the McCoys. Mountain people, when they have had opportunities to move to the more prosperous lowlands, have often had a hard time adjusting to the new way of life. At the same time, lowlanders have not tolerated the behavior of mountain people, whose conduct has been seen as crude, vulgar, and violent. Even still, a persistent problem with mountain communities is that they continuously lose their best and brightest to the lowlands, while the less talented and less ambitious remain behind. There is a paradoxical saying in parts of Appalachia that cream sinks and skim milk rises. Mountains are often full of natural resources, and it might be easy to assume that an abundance of natural resources means an increasingly wealthy population. However, after centuries of backwardness, mountain people have neither the infrastructure nor the human capital to manage such projects. In many parts of the world, Germans had to be brought in to run the mines. In Appalachia, an area rich with coal, many of the mines are owned and managed by outsiders. Even into the 21st century, many mountain communities around the world still practice subsistence agriculture, and are far from managing any mega projects. And until next time, thanks for watching.